Hello. This morning I just wanted to let you know a little update before we start the video. We took Mr. Mew to the vet, and although I guess we couldn't tell it, the vet said that he had made a little bit of improvement, and since he wasn't in pain, that if we wanted, we could wait and see what happened. And I know it's only been a few days since I posted the last video, and believe me, he was really, 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 really bad. A part of me said, I can't do this. Let's just wait and see what happens. So today, this morning, I went to give him his food. I've been feeding him. I've been giving him water. And this morning, just to see what would happen, since he looked alert this morning, more than he has in the past few days, I put a little dry food by him, and he ate it on his own. And so then I went and got some of his wet food and mixed it with some water, because I definitely want him to stay hydrated. And with my holding the plate up to him and angling it right, he ate that on his own too. So it's a minor progress, and I'll take anything we can get. Actually, it's a major progress from what he was. I know he's not out of the woods. I know we've got a long ways to go, and I also am realistic enough to know that this could all go bad so quickly. But for right now, I've had him a few more days. His birthday was Halloween. I picked that day because I got him in the second week of November, and he was about 2 weeks old, so I figured somewhere around the 30th, the 31st, and since he was black, why not? And so, as of this morning, he's eaten on his own. He's looking alert, but I know we have a long ways to go yet, and I'm so grateful that I said, hey, let's wait. I've been so torn up. I didn't go to work yesterday because I thought that we would say goodbye yesterday. And we didn't. And I mean, it could still happen. He could still just die on his own, or he could take a turn for the worse again, and then we'll have to do the unthinkable. But I just wanted to thank everyone for their caring and concerns. I appreciate it so much. And so, yeah, I'm going to hope for the best. I'm not going to say the worst can't happen, because I know very well it can. I thank you all so much. And yeah, so let's get on with the video. Hello and welcome. Today I thought we'd do something a little different with the Boho project. Since the person who lives in this loft I've created, or created a room of anyway, is a textile artist, I thought we would try to do they call it tapestry weaving. And please don't judge me. I am not a weaver. I am learning. My birthday is in a few more days, so I did order a loom to do a more full-sized weaving so I could learn. But where'd it go? Okay, so I started on a rug last night. The only problem is I didn't make my loom, and I'm just using simple chipboard with slits cut in the top that I can string my warp threads on. Very simple, same thing you did when you were a little kid. So, as I said, I'm just learning. I didn't make it long enough because I want my rug bigger, and I think I kind of overdid the fringe on the bottom, which would be cut off, shorter when I did the rug. But we'll see. I'm going to continue with this and see where it leads me. I wanted it bright for the boho because we need some bright in there too, and this is what has happened. I'm going to put it that way, but I'm not sure, that I'm not sure I'm going to use it when I'm done, but it'll always make a nice mug rug or something like that. So it's not a waste, and I am learning a few things, but this was just done with a very simple tabby stitch, as I call it. So that's what I've done on here so far is I've just ran my warp threads along my loom, going up and around each cardboard slit or chipboard slit I cut. This is not a tutorial because I don't know what I'm doing either, but I thought it would be really cool if she had some big chunky wall hanging to hang on her wall. So what I've done is I have got the loom ready. I have put in a piece of cardboard to hold the end of my weaving, and I have just done the over, under, just plain weaving stitch, just to get me a base for my weaving to secure everything to. So now what I need to do is I need to make some fringe, and I'm not going to go as crazy as I did with that. I think that one I used 3 of these. This is that old needle punch yarn that I have, and I did 3 of those, and I think I'm just going to do 2. I'm just winding it around my hand, and I'm going to cut it. This is a short piece. I had it out for, originally I was going to do this here at the bottom of that, but I decided not to. And I'm going to leave these way longer than I need them, simply because I will be cutting them off at the end. And a little bit of length in this size is, I found, much easier. Oops. All kinds of little pieces of yarn, because when you're weaving in miniature, you can use those little pieces to fill in somewhere. I'm just going to do a bunch of this because if I decide that I want to really try to make a loom out of something like wood and keep doing some miniature weavings, I can't find any weaving looms that are tiny enough. I don't think anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and unroll a bunch of this around my hand. So that's what I used for the other. And I may or may not want longer fringe, I'm not sure. But I'm just going to do a bunch of them because I know I want 2 rows. I want it nice and puffy. So we'll start with that, see where that gets us. And I'm just cutting it in half. As I said, it's very small, and therefore it's kind of a pain to do this, but we're going to give it a go here. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm taking off 2 of the threads, since I know I want a much thicker fringe this time. I mean, what I want is 2 rows of the fringe and not 1 like I did on the rug. So the next thing I got to do is I got to take this, and this is where it gets super fiddly when it's small, and it's got to go under these threads. And what I'm making is called a raya knot. And you just take the one side over the top, trying to divide it in half. And believe me, this would go much easier, I think, on a bigger loom, and also on one that is open, has an open space so that you could actually get underneath. This is not an ideal process, doing it this way. And so I need to learn to, get this done right, and I'm going to turn it upside down It'll be right side up to you. It'll be upside down to me. I want to pull this out of the way because otherwise I'm going to catch it. This is the problems I had with it last night. And it seemed to me, now the rug is done on the same scale with the warp threads being about 1/8 of an inch apart. However, this is a tricky little process. Okay, so now that I have both tails underneath my thread, like so, I don't know if you can see that. Then I'm going to even them up just a little bit. And I keep catching these bottom ones. Not an ideal thing. Then I'm just going to take it and I'm going to pull it down. And make sure it stays. So now that's what I have. My little knot there. And I apologize for it being upside down to you. And I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm using two of the threads I'm making my fringe out of and 2 of the warp threads. So I'm kind of just guessing at the middle because, as I said, this is a tiny, crazy fiddly process doing this part. But I like a challenge, and believe me, this is challenging me. Because it's getting a hold of these threads without having the room behind me. If this were open like on your just frame looms, it would be so much easier because I could poke these behind and it wouldn't. It's a good thing I have some fingernails left. With work they break off a lot, so that's not exactly a good thing in this case. As you can see, I keep missing. I've got to get this in between those two, and it is not easy to do because as soon as I go to, my fingers are fat, and so as soon as I go to poke it through, I'm catching my finger and not the yarn. So see, this is just crazy. I don't even know why I try to do these sorts of things. I think it's because I want what I do to be more authentic. And the only way to do it authentic is to do it like it's supposed to be done. So I know it took me forever to do the little fringe on the rug. And I'll probably do a couple of these with you. And then I'll probably do the rest off camera because this is going to take me forever. And you don't need to watch all that. That is exactly why this is not a tutorial. And I'm grabbing my same yarn that I just put through there, which is not what I want to do. And I thought about a crochet hook for this part, but I just don't know. There, I finally got the second one on. Get them somewhat even because that's not going to matter because they will be cut off. Pull my loop down. Okay. That's 2 of many. Yeah. Okay. So let's try it again. And with the rug, I found that the more I did this, the easier it got. It's just getting that rhythm going to do it right. As I said, so much easier if I had that hole in the back. But if you try to cut a hole in the back with something this small, you end up having your side pieces want to collapse because they're too thin. Mine did. I tried it and mine ended up too thin. So it's a thing. I could just have these raised up. And that might be a possibility on this next one. Let me make sure I got all my rows. And as you can see, these outside ones are pulling in a bit, but they'll hopefully straighten back out when I go back to the irregular weaving. So with one of those done, I will bring you back when I have the other row done. Okay, I'm back, and I have the little fringe completed, finally. That took a while. But I'm hoping if this all turns out right, it's just going to be so worth it to have that. I did make one little mistake. I did not take it out because I'm pretty sure that it probably isn't going to show once I get going. And I am just going to secure those now by doing a few rows of just plain weaving. So it'll be so nice when I get those needles with the curved ends on them, because this will make this type of weaving a lot easier, I'm pretty sure. So I also know right now that I'm not going to be securing this thread the right way, but when it's tiny, you kind of got to do what you got to do. So hopefully this will work. If it doesn't, well, I guess it's going to come out. So I just want to pull it through to where it's just laying on top of the weaving, or on top and under my threads, and just right at the top of this, because hopefully I'm going to straighten out my sides, because my sides kind of went in, but I've seen this happen. So since I went over that one, I'm going to go under, and then just over and under all the way across, just plain simple weaving like you probably did when you were a kid with paper. I remember doing that in school. Maybe they don't do it anymore, but we had to do it when I was a little kid in school. So I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to give it a curve so that I can try to keep my ends from going down in. And then I'm just going to push it down. And I'm probably going to use a needle to help push it, because I want it down tight at the top of that fringe to lock it in place. And hopefully in doing so, I'm going to straighten these ends out so they're not pulled in so far. Not what I want. Okay, so I'm just going to do a few rows of this just to anchor it. And then we'll decide what we're going to do with the rest of it. See, this is where that curved needle would come in so much easier, because going under the little threads and over them, I could just pick the thread up with the end of the needle and go right, keep right on going. But since that's not how this is going to go, because I don't have a curved needle, and I'm not going to guarantee people that this is going to be straight or anything else. It's just right now getting that fringe locked down good. And I know there are other stitches, but I'm just learning, so I'm hoping when I get the loom I ordered for my birthday that I will be able to learn those stitches, because it is it'll be a regular sized, just small table loom, and one you can put on your tabletop, but it will give me more room, and it'll be bigger, so it'll be easier to work with. I don't want to pull that because I don't want my threads on the sides. I'm trying to get them evened back out so they're not, since I went over the top, I ended over the top of this thread, I'm going under this one. And then it's just simple back and forth, and in my case, pulling your needle out, which I wasn't trying to do, but this size with this particular needle, and I looked all over. I know I had more of these, but I must have left them behind when I moved or something like that. So, and I have a big plastic one somewhere, yarn needle, but I don't know where it's at either. I found it the other day, and well, I didn't have weaving or anything on my mind, so I was like, okay, I'll just put it wherever. And that's where it ended up, is wherever. Okay, I hope you can see where that's kind of going down now and locking my fringe in. I think I'll go over and back one more time, and then I will start figuring out what colors we're going to use. Like I said, I think I kind of really want to use some earthy colors. See there, I pulled my needle out again because I went to move my hand. Not ideal. It's fun. I find it very relaxing. I've been under a lot of stress lately, the job, things in life, you know, that kind of stuff. So I'm finding that it's very relaxing to me. The last thing I needed was to start another craft project. You know, and everybody who knows me is just so helpful because they're like, oh yeah, oh that's so cool. Yeah, no. I have too much stuff. I'm going to start selling off some of my stuff I use for scrapbooking, stuff that I know I am not going to be using anymore. Got some papers that need to go. I got rid of a bunch, and you know what? I've still got a bunch. So, yeah. Okay. That's going to be the last row to secure the fringe in. And I'm just going to take the needle and I'm just going to poke it down really good because I don't want it coming out when we start the rest of the process. All right, well there it is. The fringe is on and secured. And right about now I'm going, what the hell am I thinking? But I know if I can do this, pull it off right, it's going to be really cool. So I'll be back with you in a little bit.